So I ain't never had a friend like you? Huh, we'll see. Let's check out the review.
O great one who summons me, I stand by my oath, loyalty to wishes 3. I'm kidding. Watch this.
Woo! Back up. Uh-oh. Watch out. You done wound me up. About to show you what I'm working
Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm one of your hosts, as always, C-Dubs, and as you guys can see, I'm running solo on this video. Guys, this is the third time I've actually recorded this video, and I'm going to try to speed through it, guys. I don't know what's going on today. So, this movie, if you've been living under a rock, okay, is the live-action reboot, reimagining, if you will, of Disney's animated classic Aladdin. Being completely transparent with you guys, I am not connected to the original Aladdin as most, especially male Disney fans, are. I came across Aladdin as an older kid. I never really seen the movie. I may have even been closer to being an adult by the time I seen Aladdin. However, I did watch the animated TV series before I ever seen any of the movies. Okay, so I was familiar with Aladdin, and I do like Aladdin. Again, I just want to be completely transparent with you, universe, that I don't hold Aladdin in as much affinity. And I'm talking about the Aladdin character, not necessarily the movie. I do love the movie, absolutely, and I love Robin Williams, and I love the genie. But Aladdin himself as a character, where most boys, that was their Disney character, because it was one of the first and only that they've had, where me, myself, I, was more of a Simba guy, if you will. So, alright. This movie, I'm going to give it a good, I'm going to give it a bad, I'm going to give it a badass, as I always try to do. Kind of pulling in the reins here, the good, the acting, everybody's on point. There's just a few slight things that I didn't connect with me as well. Maybe they were more intended to the younger audience, or maybe just to the lack of direction or writing in the actual script. I've seen some of the other reviews out there that a lot of people didn't feel any growth within the characters. I disagree with that. To some degree, maybe some of the characters didn't have a lot of growth, but there is some real big growth in some of the other characters, and some of the other characters give some layers, where, again, I didn't feel like they touched on at all. But again, sometimes when you're directing or anything working with Disney, sometimes creatively you may be placed into a box because Disney has a way of doing things. They want things done a certain way. Again, maybe there's connections, or in this case, you have to still pay some homage and follow some of the original story threads from the original story. So again, I understand sometimes that can be a little frustrating, and sometimes you can lose your way and or focus with that. So that's going to get somewhat of a pass for me because I loved so much more of this movie. It's colorful, it's bright, it's energetic, it's everything you would want. It keeps your attention. I don't think there's really a downtime or a boring time in the film, to be honest with you. And even if you do find yourself slightly losing focus, I'm telling you, it's only a short portion of this movie, considering how long this movie is about 2 hours long, maybe a little more. However, this was really good. I enjoyed it. The bad, there's a couple of scenes, and it's really just two characters in general, one of which being the star character, Aladdin. The actor that plays him does a decent enough job. He does actually a really good job when he's Aladdin. I start to lose a little focus when he starts becoming Prince Ali, and I get it maybe because he's trying to be something he's not. He's trying to convince, Princess Jasmine of himself and to see him as being worthy, and he likes her. And I know when we get around a girl that we like and or love, things can get a little wishy-washy with our own emotions, and sometimes we can come across real dorky or say things that make us seem really nerdy. And I know some of it was done just to play for laughs, but not even, 10 minutes earlier in the film when he was Aladdin, granted he didn't know that she was Princess Jasmine at the time. He thought she was a handmaiden. He was Mr. Rico Suave. He was smooth. He was cool. He was on point. He was kind. He was loving. He was grabbing her attention. But again, when he was Prince Ali, that went out the window. And that makes sense. I know it's kind of like that in the film too, the original film, but I know it was just a little goofy to see a grown man say some of the things he said or act the way that he did, and some of that actually spills a little over to the genie, but the genie does, kind of catches on that that's happening, so that made it okay and a little more fourth wall breaking, a little more maybe Deadpoolish, to where I was like, okay, that's funny, where it wasn't as funny when Aladdin was doing it. But overall, he does a really good job. You see the connection. They look good together. He does a decent enough job, so I don't want to bash on him too much. However, Jafar is probably the biggest letdown for me in this movie. Not that he does a bad job by any stretch of the imagination. What Jafar does, though, is he's not as menacing and or as dark as I would have liked him to be. In the echelon of Disney villains, he probably is top 5 in terms of just sheer terror, especially just from an aesthetic point of view, let alone getting into who he is as a person and or as a character. So he's a little toned back, a little bit more mild. What I did like, however, that there's a slight layer, they don't touch on it too much, so I don't want to make it seem to be more than it is, but I really did appreciate, and I don't know if they ever did this in the show or the TV or the animated movies, any of them, even the direct-to-video ones, where Jafar came from being a street rat himself. I don't recall that, and if that's a major part of his background, again, it just due to time, I may have forgotten it. But he himself explains to Aladdin that he started off exactly basically the same type of person he was, robbing when he needed to, stealing for a living, but he figured it out and he weaseled his way into the palace and has become the Sultan's right-hand man, his consultant, if you will. So it was kind of cool to see that little bit of background and to actually see him be a little more skilled than Aladdin with his sleight of hand or his pickpocketing. That was actually kind of cool. He was able to, later on in the film, he actually does it to Aladdin, which I thought was kind of cool. And again, I don't want to make it too much of a big deal, but I appreciated that they gave that to us and a little bit of a layer to that character, especially since I felt like he was toned down a lot. And Iago, I wanted a little more from the bird as well. As one of my favorite characters. He was intelligent, he was well trained, and at times he seemed to be more than just a bird or more than just a parrot. But then at the moment it seemed like he was more than just a parrot, and what I mean by that is just being a little more self-aware, more like maybe Abu would be, where he was just, and then he's just repeating what he heard or antagonizing for the sake of antagonizing. But then again, he'd say a phrase or a sentence that made him seem like he was smarter than your average bird. So it was kind of inconsistent on how they treated Iago, and I don't like how they treated him in the end. I was expecting, again, a little bit more, things to be a little different for that particular character. But again, it's not going to change or bash this movie. Let's go on to the badass. This is what you guys all want to know. This is where you guys want me to bash Will Smith, and I'm not going to. He does a great job. Unfortunately, yes, there are times where he is emulating because the writing of the story and the antics of what the genie is doing kind of calls for that moment. But it's not like he's actually bringing his own twist and flair to it. He's only emulating in terms of maybe the aesthetics of what's happening, not in personality. And that is what I appreciate. And I understand and believe in my heart that Robin Williams would not want me to compare and contrast and just bash this because it's not him. He would want me to support it. And I fully believe by supporting this film, we are continuing to support Robin Williams' legacy as well, because this is going to make people want to see the original. This is going to make people see the original, buy the original. Okay, get the Disney streaming service because we're getting that movie on launch day. This is what I mean by supporting him. Okay, this is going to make people who have never seen the original curious about Robin Williams' version, because all the children, the parents are going to be like, oh, Robin Williams was so great. This is what he did. This is what, and it's not in Robin Williams' heart to hate on this character or Will Smith. He would have supported him 100%. So guys, go into this movie, be open-minded, give him a chance, and I don't know why some of us choose to hate on Will Smith when he's being Will Smith, when that's what brought him to the dance, that's what made us love him as an actor, as a character. is when he brings his charm and his personality into some of his films. We've seen Will Smith be able to act in layers. We've seen Ali, so we know he's capable of more, sure. But when he tones it down and he's just being himself, that's no reason to hate. That's what brought him to the dance. I don't get why some people are like that. But I myself enjoyed it. I think he does a really, really good job, believe it or not. And I actually liked him a little more when he wasn't the genie. What I mean by that, when he's in his normal skin tone, if you will. He looked like actual human Will Smith, because there's a new dynamic brought to him where in the animated show he did actually find love with another genie. Here he finds some attachment to a young handmaiden, if you will. And I know I can hear some of you guys, all love, blah, blah, blah. And I'm usually the same way, but it was organic and I liked it. It wasn't forced upon me. And again, it made Will Smith a little more relatable. Now, they stand out to this movie, okay, by leaps and bounds, and I know I haven't mentioned her yet, is Jasmine, I think. She kills it. She does things that I've never seen in the film. Like, she has brought layers that only the TV show brought layers to her, because there was just more time to expand with the character. So it's really, really cool to see her able to do more, act out more. You see that there's some women empowerment in this film. And I know it's so easy in this day and age, and sometimes I'm guilty of it as well, is to rebel against it when it feels like it's being forced down your throat. You know, anything SJW or anything, you know, feminism or anything that isn't, you know, male dominated or male driven. It's so easy for us, especially me as a male, to kind of, oh, stop forcing that down my throat. Here it felt organic. You'll hear me say that constantly throughout hanging out on this channel. When PC for PC's sake is not PC, it's terrible. It's force fed. No one likes to be force fed. Okay, make it natural, make it organic, then it works, then I can support it, and here is exactly what we get. She's a strong, independent woman, okay, very intelligent. They even mention that the way to get to her and to get to understand her and get to her emotions is through her mind, not just by buying her trinkets just because she's a princess. She already has all of that. So it was really cool to kind of see that. She has this one moment, this one song, I Will Not Be Silent is what I would assume the name of the song is. When you see it, you'll know it. Is when she actually takes a stand against Jafar and she actually stands up to him. It was really good. She has this rasp in her voice while she's singing that I was like, oh, okay, where'd this come from? And it was really cool to kind of see her do that. Again, since she's so played down in the first half of the film, by the end it's like, no, wait a minute, she's ready to be Sultan herself. Okay, and just because of old laws of her having to be married first, okay, to be able to help her people, you know, and it's true. And it was really awesome to kind of see that. She does a great job. I'm definitely on the lookout for any future films with her, and I would definitely check out her back catalog. She really won me over in this movie. It was really cool to see. Only real thing I did not like in this movie, though, and I don't want to end on this, is that there's a humongous foreshadow in the beginning of the movie, and I don't even want to call it a foreshadow. It's blatant as hell that we see the first basic set of characters we're introduced to. You know exactly who that person is. So just in case you've never seen the original, and if you've never seen this movie, and say the first time you're watching it, and your first time you're being introduced to the story of Aladdin, you understand who this person is, and you understand where the story is going to go. Why they did that, I don't know. It was absolutely, I'm going to use a weird word here, booty. Didn't like it. It was garbage. It was trash. Did not feel that. Had no problem with him doing what he's doing in the scene, but it shouldn't have been the opening scene. It could have been the end scene, and then we have been told that this is how it all happened. Okay, that just no, it was terrible. I hated it. I was like, this is how this shit's gonna start. Oh, this isn't. I was like, at that point in time, I was already to call the movie off. I was like, this is bad. Okay, but the movie did win me over. I'd give it a solid 4 to 5, guys. Go check it out if you haven't already. Be open-minded, man, because again, don't write this video off or the movie off just because you think it's sacrilegious to see somebody else play the genie. Okay, is he better than? No. Does he do his own thing from time to time? Yes. Unfortunately, is there some times where he has to emulate, you know, maybe something Robin Williams did? Yes, because the story called for it. But he does a good enough job, and he brings his own flair to the character, and I think he does a good job. Okay, guys, so check it out. Support this movie because, again, I do believe it helps support the memory of Robin Williams, and everybody should know who Robin Williams is as an actor and the joy that he brought to me and all of you guys' lives. Okay, and again, this is going to make us go out and watch the original that much more and love the original that much more. So, guys, go ahead and give that thumbs up a nice old genie rub for us if you like what we're doing. If you don't, you want to give us a thumbs down, that's cool too. I just asked it in the comments below. Let me know what I could have done to make this video better for you or moving forward. Also, guys, if you have any ideas for videos or anything that you want us to do, let us know in the comments below. And, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. If this is the first video you're stumbling upon, we do all kinds of nerd-related topics from reviews to everything, game streaming, anything nerd culture we'll cover, we do and handle here. The trolls really haven't found us yet, so we are a group, a community that supports each other, hangs out, talks. We're here. If you have any questions, guys, let us know again. And until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace!